101.3 Mainland FM, the sound of Lagos. Well, today is Friday, the 22nd of September 2023. A lot of people are excited. It's time for us to go home, refresh, re-energize, recharge, meet family, friends, and loved ones that you weren't able to see over the week. For those who are squatting in one place or the other just because of transport fare and fuel issues and all of that, well, it's time for you to go home and spend some quality time with your family and your loved ones. Well, I hope that you get the much needed rest that you need, especially those of us who are staying in Lagos. And also, yesterday was the candlelight procession for Iliruwa Aloba, professionally known as Mohbad. It was quite a peaceful one, a successful until, well, some drama happened after on. But then things are looking quite interesting as regards, the Mohbad case. Things are looking really interesting. The police is on it. The National Assembly is also on it. A lot of human rights, groups are also on it. People are speaking all over the world, and it's becoming a big report, a big case. And we hope that at the end of it all, it won't all just be a drama. I hope that justice will actually truly prevail. My name is Omobola Sandra. It's time for Trends in the Papers, where we look through the major trending stories on the front pages of our dailies. We have our papers here with us. I'll be looking through the stories, the major stories that is with Saheed Fuhad. He'll be joining in via the phone line to give analysis to the stories that we're going to be treating this morning. We're live on Facebook, so you can join the program live. You can join the conversation live at any one of our social media channels, our streaming platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Mainland. We move on to Mainland Focus, where you...
Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing?
And well, thank you very much. All right. The major headlines: marketers are for 1,000 proposal. Know whether or not there's a silent saying about this year. And that's coming from an analysis of data provided by oil marketers to 900 naira per litre, based on the fall of naira against the... At the moment, petrol currently sells between 598 being sold, all the other the naira to $1 as per barrel. Thank you. So what
is on this platform, who are always listening to us, and some of the things we've talked about as far as this subsidy, I don't think you're surprised either, Sandra. That we are now where we are. Again, that was why when the NNPC LGMD tried to downplay the importance of us having functional local refineries, we saw that some of us got very annoyed about, when he made the statement that, even though if we had functional refineries, we will still not change anything because all of these things about the international market, international pricing and all of that. I said it at that time that, look, on a normal scale, that guy should be fired immediately for trying to downplay the importance of us having functional local refineries. Sandra, ordinarily, the rise of the price of crude all over the world should come as a blessing to an oil-producing nation, Sandra. Ordinarily, all these $95 per barrel that we're talking about should ordinarily not care or make an oil-producing nation worry. We are supposed to be smiling to the bank. The ordinary people are supposed to be seeing the effect on their lives. I said it about 2 or 3 days ago. All of the money you see the Saudi people throwing into football, the money is coming from oil proceeds. It's not as if we have any other thing. They are being in Saudi Arabia. Qatar that hosted the World Cup recently, Sandra. What is the source of wealth? To the extent that the world would assemble in that country because of the quality infrastructure they were able to provide. And up till today, that World Cup is regarded as one of the best ever hosted in the history of the World Cup. It is still the same from oil proceeds and so many other nations of the world like that. Even in the sub-Saharan Africa, Angola, they are not doing badly. Their economy is shaping up. They are stabilizing their economy. They are firming up their currency against the dollar. But yeah, anytime we hear that the price of crude is going up, we begin to despair. We begin to get worried. And as an oil-producing nation, we are supposed to be happy that is happening because that is supposed to be a major earner of forex for us. So it means that ultimately what we should be talking about now, Sandra, is how to quickly get our local refineries working. Unfortunately, the Dangote refinery that was sold to us by the megalomaniacs of government, by political jobbers and our political class as the ultimate solution to our problem, it has now become very obvious that that will not solve any problem. Now that we're even reviewing stories that Dangote will be buying crude, even though the NNPCL is saying something else. But the people who own Dangote are already telling us that, look, we are going to be buying crude for now. And even when we buy this crude, because what we hear now is that, look, the vessel bringing their crude is already close to Nigeria. It's already on the way. And that, look, they are not even going to concentrate on PMS. They are going to start with diesel and get A1. Then maybe sometime in November, they begin to think about PMS. But again, are we sure that they are going to concentrate their energy on feeding the local market? Sandra, this was bound to happen. The question now is for people in government, because they are silent. And Nigerians will not keep quiet because this affects us all. The government is silent. Yesterday, Daily Trust newspaper reported that the government has paid about 169 billion naira as subsidy payments last month.
For August, yeah.
If you go by the Punch report, yes. If you go by the Punch report, Sandra, they are already saying that between now and December, we are likely going to do 1.9 trillion naira. If you calculate that over 4 months, 5 months, that's an average of about 350 to 400 billion naira every month. Sandra, we are back to pre-May 29 when the president announced subsidy is gone. Subsidy is fully back. Now the question is this: the whole suffering that the government put Nigerians through on this subsidy removal policy, what has now happened? So we suffered in vain. And then we are going to begin to suffer more in vain. Because we are not seeing anything definite, anything definitive from the government as to what they want to do about this problem. There's nothing definite. This is not even a government that is even making our local refineries a priority. It was until the labor leaders met with them that we got a glimpse of the fact that something is being done on Port Harcourt refinery. Or even the way the government is talking about the Port Harcourt refinery and their body language, you can see that that projection may not happen. So where do we now stand in all of it? In one breath, without proper thinking and planning, you remove subsidy. In another breath, without proper thinking and proper planning, you floated the naira against the dollar. That one is behaving seriously now. We are not talking about 1,000 naira to a dollar. And then government is silently intervening. The interventions are not working. The structure is not there to firm up our economy, to save poor Nigerians. And in the midst of all of that, there's a lot of jamboree going on within the government space. Almost every government official now went to the United Nations General Assembly. Oh, they're celebrating that our president will beat the gong at the New York Stock Exchange. How does that trickle down to affecting ordinary Nigerian standards? That's the question. So if this was going to happen, so it means subsidy is back. So the bravado of the president, that announcement, where does he now put in? Where does he put this government in the face of ordinary Nigerians who have suffered? And when we raise questions then about the way the government has handled the amount of subsidy, maybe the supporters of government were insulting some of us. Oh, we don't know what we're doing. What was he supposed to do? Okay, now that we are back to square one, what are they going to say?
All right, thank you very much, Fuhad. Looking at reactions to this particular report, we have here the National Secretary IPMAN, Chief John Kekeocha, stressing that the government should come out clean on subsidy. He said, and I'm quoting, "The government must come out clean on subsidy. We know it is not possible to be running full deregulation at the current price of petrol. However, it is commendable that they are considering the plights of the masses," the IPMAN official stated. Another reaction to this, we have the chairman of Satellite Depot, IPMAN, Akinrinade, saying that he is adding that, however, there could be other means by which the government is subsidizing it. For instance, local levies such as NIMASA, MPA, and other levies are currently being paid in naira, no longer in dollars. So if the government is working on that, it can also reflect on the prices of petrol by bringing it down. And as you know, no marketer brings in petrol due to the high price of Forex. They claim they don't have access to dollars at the CBN rate. So it's only NNPC that is bringing in the products. Fuhad, looking at these reactions, okay, yes, I'm with you.
Sandra. You can see now that, one of the things the government sold to us was that, okay, what we're going to do is to open up that sector, deregulate it completely. And of course, we got the announcement that, a lot of importers have been issued licenses. And so what we're going to have is a situation where the market will be flooded. And so when the market is flooded with PMS products and all of that, the factors of demand and supply will come in, market forces indices will come in, and that we may begin to see price adjustments downward because of competition. Remember, that was the idea that was sold to Nigeria. Everybody cannot bring in anything from anywhere, so it's not going to be a factor of demand and supply, market forces, blah, 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 and all of that. And I said it at that time, Sandra. In every free market economy, there are always dominant players who would eventually determine what happens in that market. There's no completely free market economy. So when economies begin to tell you some of these bubuya about free market economy and all of that, you know that there are the big players who are going to eventually decide what happens in that market. As we speak now, NNPC is still the sole importer of PMS. And do you know why? Because they are the guys that have access to forex. Every other importer that has the license don't have access to forex. And so they can't import. Look, the government has said that, they floated the dollar against the naira. But this is the reality, Sandra. The I&E window that the government has sold to us as the official window for anybody to get dollars. Nobody can get it at that market, at the I&E window. If you ask them now, they will tell you that, dollar in the I&E window is supposed to be 770 naira to a dollar. But nobody can get it anywhere at the I&E window. So everybody goes to the black market. The last 2 days ago, I needed dollars for some things. I knew what I had to go through to get it at naira 90 naira to a dollar. Even when you get to your booking and they will tell you it's not available, there's no dollar. When you now begin to negotiate, they ask, we'll do 1,000. You now begin to price it. And we said it that you floated the naira against the dollar. There's no structure in place to fight speculation, which is the reason why dollar is misbehaving completely. And apart from the fact that we're not even earning enough for it, there are people who are in that market who will mop up everything, ensure that there is scarcity, speculate. When the active governor was saying that, they are going to give speculators a bloody blow, they are going to flood the market with blah, blah, blah. I said this was a complete joke. The $3 billion from affecting bank, what has happened to that now? How has that affected the dollar market? So again, when we talk about the fact that government is not about the understanding, it's about critical thinking, proper planning, putting structures in place before policies are implemented. This exactly is what we are talking about.
All right, thank you very much, Fuad. Okay, so there's more details as that. There's a lot of responses, there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of reactions to this particular story. We can get it on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The CSOs are as well. They have one thing or the other to say. They said it's, for example, Chairman Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, Debo Adeniran, saying it is practically impossible for the government to maintain a steady balance in the price of petroleum products in the hands of businessmen and women that are running the cartel. They will always find a way of making things difficult for Nigerians and force the hands of the government backwards towards ensuring that there is one form of subsidy or the other, because without the subsidy, they are not used to doing honest business. They will find a way of embarrassing the government by ensuring that there's no adequate supply or making their cartel increase the cost. Well, it's a lot of,
Wait. It is because we know there's a cartel. It is because we know there's a lot of sharp practices, corruption going on in that sector, that we told the government to calm down and plan properly. You don't just go into a fight without assessing your enemy, without evaluating your enemy. You just go in there without plan. Because it's best. And what structure?
Fuad, can you? Fuad, maybe you should move a bit. The quality just dropped a bit. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a little bit better.
So again, all of these require proper planning. For me, I would really plan well because then when we do these and then that's what I see.
Hello? All right. Maybe we'll try to connect. We'll try to reconnect with you for we're losing you. We're losing the call. Let me put it out a bit. But thank you very much. I see where we're going with that particular conversation. That's the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Federal government may have to pay 1.68 trillion naira for subsidy, and as marketers are forecasting a 900 naira per litre in the future. And we have riders that says petrol price to rise again as naira nears 1,000 naira, and crude oil hits $95 per barrel. Ipman is warning operators commend government for subsidy proposal. CSOs oppose fresh subsidy. So the conversation, we're back to what exactly is the issue with fixing our refineries. We spend billions and billions of hundreds of billions of naira every month maintaining, rehabilitating our refineries, and we are not even getting any dividend of all of that expenditure. And nobody is saying anything about it. Nobody is even hinting anything about it, except for the Port Harcourt revival, which may or may not happen by December as proposed by the federal government. But we'll wait till December if that would happen, and we'll see if there's going to be any change at all. Okay, stories on page 2 of the Punch. We'll move on now. Still on the front page of the Punch, pathologists conclude autopsy on Mohbad's corpse. Police await results. Yesterday, the Nigeria Police Force exhumed the body of Ilerioluwa Aloba, also known, professionally known as Mohbad, and things are, everything is, the autopsy has been done, so we're waiting for results as it is now. But Fuad, all of the conversations that has been going on, all of the I don't want to call it noise, but there's just a lot that has been happening, revelations and all of that from Mohbad's this Mohbad situation. What will you make of it now? What's happening now? What is the difference now, and as to why the youths have decided to make a stand?
Well, the problem with this Mohbad case is that, we're in an era where everybody wants to chase some form of clout, clout chasing. We're in an era where everybody wants to be socially relevant. The social media, this thing about social media trends and all of that. Has a tendency to mess up this entire, Mohbad case. The police has, for me, is doing the right thing, and I also understand that all of these things have to be done, with some, sense of responsibility, high sense of responsibility, because it's a very delicate case. Now, but we have a situation where people are taking advantage of this guy's case, chasing. It's a lot of drama, too much drama going on social media on this particular issue. Apart from that, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation
that's going around,
also coming out from this. That's going around. One of them is that recently, we saw pictures, and it was announced that Jᴏɪṛ Tinubu, the son of the president, had given the family 15 million naira.
Yes.
If people that created that disinformation even posted a receipt of the payment with Jᴏɪṛ Tinubu's name on it, that's to tell you how far people can go on social media to disinform and misinform people. And we have seen a lot of drama, a lot of the so-called quote and unquote celebrities and influencers are taking advantage of this guy's case. This was a guy that for months he kept shouting out that people should come to his rescue. People were after him. He was depressed. All of these so-called social media influencers were nowhere to be found at the time. Nobody spoke up for him. And then suddenly now everybody's jumping on the case, making statements and all of that. I agree with the youth who are calling for justice. Justice for Mohbad is in order completely, and that is what should be done. But again, in doing all of that, we have to be careful, so that this thing does not get out of hand. Look at what happened in 𝗪𝗏 yesterday. The procession was going on fantastic. They all gathered at the 𝗪𝗏 Park. The procession was held, the candle night was held. A number of our top celebrities were there, to solidarize with the people, to share in their pains and all of that. And at a stage, I think it was said that, look, the whole procession has ended, people should go back home.
Yes.
Only for some people now to move from there to the 𝗪𝗏 toll gate. You can see what I'm talking about. So you can see that, as all of this is going on, I think there are fifth columnists who want to take advantage of what is happening to mess up the whole thing. I look at what also happened when the body was exhumed from the grave. You know, there were people who were even complaining that, oh, when the body was being exhumed, why is that the police cordoned off the place? They should have allowed them to bring in the camera. So you want to record how body is being exhumed so that you can post on social media to chase crowd. Look at how irresponsible people can be. And after the body was removed, look at the different videos of the grave. Look at their very whack analysis about the situation. All about chasing crowd. So again, again, the pathologists have done their job. We are hearing that, look, we are waiting for the report of the autopsy. Everybody is now a medical doctor on social media now, analyzing all manner of things. You know, this guy's case is in order. I like the energy of the youth. The fact that, you know, justice has to be done on this guy's case. But I think we have to be careful with the way social media is messing up the whole thing. Especially for those guys who are chasing crowds, who just want to have the numbers on social media.
All right. Thank you very much, for the story is on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. We're awaiting results of the autopsy, so we know how to move on ahead from that particular story. Also on the front page of the Punch, we have here, I remain loyal. Forgive me. Shaibu begs Obaseki. That is still going on. It was quite an interesting one on in the Situation Room yesterday when we were
very embarrassing video.
where we have the deputy governor of Edo State couldn't go into his office, was locked out, and then he was standing right there trying to put a phone call through. And the conversation as regards, you know, the seat of a deputy, you know, who a deputy is, are they supposed to be there? Are we supposed to know they exist? What exactly? All of that conversation was quite an interesting one yesterday in Situation Room with Muniwa Adeyemi. But looking at this particular one, juxtaposing it against what is also happening in Ondo State, for her, just a very quick question: are we supposed to have vocal deputy governors, or is it that, or do we have governors who do not want their deputies to be seen?
You know, everything we borrow from other places where these things are working properly without issues, we bring it back home. Our own nature as human beings come into it and we mess it up completely. I think that's going to the point where we don't need deputy governors again. Maybe just have the governor rule the state. If something happens, we do another election.
It's okay.
You don't understand what I'm saying? Because look, yesterday you could see Fᴜӷᴜ Shuaibu. I was looking at his video yesterday, you know, where he was talking about, you know, apologizing to the governor. You could see that he was struggling to make that statement. There was a man in one breath who was trying to apologize. In another breath, he was looking at himself and saying, I hope I'm not ridiculing myself with this statement. So he was trying to create a balance. And the balance in itself was a further ridicule of his personality. Oh, I'm loyal to the people. I'm a very loyal person. I'm hoping that the governor would find somewhere in his heart, you know, to forgive. And the people that are trying to cause disaffection between me and my governor. And I said, is this a deputy governor talking, or the domestic servant of the governor? It was difficult for me to differentiate between him as a deputy governor or a domestic servant of the governor who is begging him.
Yes, but for some people would argue with you and say the deputy governor was not the one who was voted into office. He was just riding
it's a
on.
Joint ticket.
Yes.
It's a joint ticket. It's a joint ticket. Both of them were voted in. It's a joint ticket. You can't run on a single ticket. The ticket is the governor and the deputy. That's why it's called a joint ticket.
Do people vote people into to be a governor because of the deputy that they have on their tickets?
Yes, you can't run as a governor alone. You have to run with a deputy. Both of you own the mandate. That's the problem. If people vote both of them. Yes, it's a joint ticket. That's why it's called a joint ticket. It's not that, look, it's a different case where maybe we first vote the governor, then the governor now appoints a deputy. No, that's not the situation. The situation is that both of them have to be nominated and be presented at the ballot box for the electorate to vote them. If you remember the case of Bayelsa, the last election in Bayelsa, that was what happened. You know, APC had won Leon, but the court ruled against Leon of the APC because the deputy had a problem with his certificate. And that was why the election was nullified. So it's a joint ticket. It's not as if the deputy is not relevant in the scheme of things. The electorate vote for the governor and the deputy. The mandate belongs to both of them. But in governance, the reverse is the case. The governor is the alpha and omega, the emperor is everything. Look at Ondo State. I said it to say yesterday. Lucky Ayedatiwa is a gunner. if that is what the governor wants. And I think with the way these things are going now, the Akeredolu wants Aiyedatiwa out of the way, and that's what's going to happen. The governors are the emperor, they are the alpha or omega, they do anything they like. That's the reality.
All right, well, thank you very much. Because the conversation as whether or not Lucky Aiyedatiwa will be impeached, that's another conversation. What exactly is that? Well, that's another conversation. Although they have some allegations against him that he misused office while he was acting governor. But then putting against this Edo situation, Shuaibu's ambition to become governor.
What's the problem with trying to become a governor? Is he not qualified? Is he not from Edo State? Every deputy governor will want to become governor, for God's sake. Standard. Is he not qualified? He has the qualification. And if the governor feels that, I don't want to, it should even be about who the governor wants to support. It should be that should be left for the people of Edo State to decide if they want Shuaibu or they don't want him. Obaseki has done his time. He's going to have his 8 years. Then the people of Edo State should decide who they want to vote for as governor. It is not supposed to be Obaseki's decision on who becomes governor. If Shuaibu wants to become governor, let the people of Edo State vote or not vote for him. That's what we are saying. But that's not the case. That's why we keep saying these things. This democracy we are doing in Nigeria, we need to rework it. This is not democracy.
All right, thank you very much, Fuad. More details on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. We also have here, very quickly, cult clashes. Relocate to Ṣàgámù, Dapo Abiodun tells security heads. And that's on pages 4 and 5. And that's as regards, the fact that there's conversation going around now that Ṣàgámù seems to be the capital base of cultism in Ogun State and in Southwest, maybe. But then allegedly that is. But stories on pages 4 and 5. A lot still needs to be done as regards cultism in Ogun State, generally speaking. We also have here consumers allege sabotage as grid collapses. What's in it? I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Fuad.
I was telling you about Abiku. You say Abiku cannot die.
He cannot die up to 100 times. This is not an Abiku. This is so much more. 100 times. Why?
I hear you.
This is more than 100, if you ask me. Anyways, but the story is on page 17. Consumers are alleging sabotage.
And there's a solution to Abiku in Africa.
I didn't on purpose. Is somebody there that is choking something that is not supposed to be?
Sandra,
chukun.
Sandra, if you want to know how our African traditionalists, our ancestors handle a big issue, I've told you to go and read those 2 points.
Let's put marks on them.
It's not about marks now. Just go and read what I bring you to read. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
There's something that national grid is a people, and there's something that can be done about it. I said you should unbundle that thing, dismantle it completely. That's the solution. If we still keep it together the way we are keeping it, it will to collapse.
All right.
It's not that there are some things you can't say on radio, but go and read out. You understand what the government can do.
That's it.
Save us from this Abiku national grid.
All right. Well, stories on page 17. Above the masthead of the Punch, we have academic record. Delay Atiku's request. Tinubu tells U.S. court. And legal team seeks review of ruling as Atiku's aide alleges cover-ups. It's a whole lot going on there. Stories on page 22 of...
Sandra, very, very important story.
Yes.
Very, very important story. We can't gloss over it. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar seems to have something on this Bola Tinubu certificate, Chicago State University certificate, because he's so consistent about trying to build up something on that. And that's why it's important that we pay attention to that story. I think yesterday, a court had ruled in the United States, in one of the states, that look, Chicago State University can now make Bola Tinubu's certificates and all of that, academic records, public, because the lawyers were quite demanded that, that should be made public. So that ruling came yesterday, and
Fuad, we are missing very important points here because the line keeps breaking. Could you please move a bit so we can hear you clearly?
Is it better now?
Oh, you have to speak for us.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yes.
So, again, that came up. The Tinubu team had said that, look, Atiku was chasing clout, there was nothing to eat. There's nothing that the Tinubu team is trying to hide and all of that. Only for them to file an appeal against that ruling yesterday that, look, for now that document, his academic record should not be released. And so we ask ourselves, if indeed the president and his team, like they said, are not trying to hide anything, I think they should just make the whole thing public. The academic, what is in an academic record, Sandra? Your transcript.
Maybe it didn't do
I am now. If you ask me about, I'm making public. If you ask me about my transcript today, all I need to do is to write my school and I'll put it to everybody to see.
Maybe
your admission letter.
No, maybe he's not proud of his results.
Even if you do, sorry.
Maybe he's not proud of his results.
No. This was a man that even his team had said came out in flying colors, and that was the reason why he could get a job, for example, in ExxonMobil. It's not about whether I did well or not. It's about, look, I went to this school, I didn't go there. There are speculations as to one Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one Bola Adekunle Tinubu, whether it's a female or a male. So what we're saying is that, look, can the president just come clean on it? Put your academic records out for everybody to see, and then we raise the case.
Oh, well.
Rather than this back and forth.
According to the coordinator of Tinubu presidential legal team, Babatunde Ogala, SAN, is clarifying that what they are seeking is a review and not an appeal of the order. Saying that
of what?
A review. He's saying that they're trying to look at if the U.S. magistrate actually does not have the power to order the university to release non-privileged information. Okay. So
you see the problem. What's privileged about the academic records of our president? What's supposed to be privileged about it? The academic record of my president? So it's supposed to be a privilege for me to see where even in the U.S. the medical report of the president is in the public space. Even the drugs he's taking to take care of himself is made public. So academic record is now a privilege to see. Academic record, simple thing as academic record of my president.
It's okay.
Sandra, you see the problem now?
Yes.
Eh?
We're together. It's all right. Well, they have filed an emergency motion to stop the release of the president's results. We'll see more details from that one as that moves on. The story is on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. You're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're looking through the major trending stories on the front pages of our dailies. Now we're on to the Guardian newspaper. And the major headline there, paradox of plenty. Nigeria loses 1 trillion naira yearly importing active pharmaceutical ingredients. And that story is on pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. So what is the Guardian trying to say? Despite the capacity to locally produce active pharmaceutical ingredients, that's APIs, and boost indigenous production of drugs, successive administrations have turned a blind eye to developing the pharmaceutical sector to provide medical security for the country. But with the naira to dollar free fall getting into the way of importation and political concerns on global reliance on China and India for API supply, stakeholders are saying Nigeria must look inwards before it is too late. We may not be able to afford to have drugs in the country, Fuad. Basically, that's what I'm getting from this.
From that report, you can see another sector that is putting pressure on forex. Because all of these things